Alright, so Vasiliy Lomachenko made his return to the ring against Jamaine Ortiz, former sparring partners, and I'm going to give you guys my immediate post-fight thoughts. This isn't going to be a film study, so there isn't going to be any footage in this video, just my thoughts on how the fight played out. So right away, as soon as the bell rang for round number 1, Ortiz came out absolutely guns blazing, head full of steam, and was pumping out a sharp, constant, and fast jab. I don't always like to talk about physical aspects in my videos, but the hand speed of Ortiz was really the most impressive thing about it. He kept pumping it to Lomachenko's gloves, to his chest, and also to his head, mixing up the targets, and landed a couple of them on Lomachenko, giving him a problem to solve. Of course, Lomachenko, the shorter fighter, as he usually is at lightweight, was being held at the tip of Ortiz's range, and has to get past that jab in order to land his own punches. So a common thing Lomachenko does to pretty much all of his opponents is he pressures them using pre-slips, uses step feints, uses hand traps with his lead hand, and all while coming forward in order to bait out that jab or any punches. Then when the jab comes, he slips it and follows his opponent's retraction of the jab, blitzing in with a counter, and then he angles off the safety. And this is a classic Lomachenko strategy you see in all of his fights. You see him move around, slip, pre-slip, feint, and then it draws out the jab, and then once the jab comes, he slips it and then blitzes in with a counter while his opponent is retracting that jab. And in the first 2 rounds, Lomachenko went to this, and Ortiz had the read on it. It seemed that Ortiz sensed Lomachenko was looking for this, because he saw Lomachenko ramping up the feints and coming forward. So there was a moment in round 2 where Lomachenko gave a hard step feint, and this baited out the jab from Ortiz, which fell short. Then Lomachenko tried to blitz in on the retraction of the jab, but Ortiz beautifully didn't retract his jab, and instead just turned it into a check hook, which caught Lomachenko blitzing in. And it definitely got Lomachenko's attention, and had him retreating for a few seconds. However, Tim Bradley and Andre Ward both brought this up on the broadcast that Ortiz was spending a lot of energy with his punch output, just, constantly throwing out that sharp jab and combinations, and it was really sharp, so that's almost impossible to keep that up for 12 rounds. So couple this with the fact that Ortiz was moving around a lot to stay away from Lomachenko. He was moving backwards a lot, so this brought into question if Ortiz would be able to last the whole 12 rounds. Moving backwards is definitely twice as more tiring as it is to move forward. In comparison, you see Lomachenko didn't throw as many punches and was moving forward the majority of those rounds, and he was also staying calm, so he knew his pace. Then it was around round 3, almost like a premonition, Ortiz might have slowed down just a tick. Lomachenko seemed to have a better feeling of the timing of Ortiz as well, and there was quite a few moments where Lomachenko baited out the jab, and this time successfully countered Ortiz with a blitz in on his jab retraction. Lomachenko would either blitz in with a straight left, shifting right hand, then angle off or clinch to prevent return fire from Ortiz, or he'd counter over the top of the jab with a right hook, then blitz in with the left hand to the body, and then a shifting right hand, and then do the same thing, either angle off or clinch to prevent the return fire. Ortiz kept the jab out there during these rounds, but the pressure of Lomachenko really started getting to him. Eventually, Ortiz would need a break from pumping the jab, and during those breaks, Lomachenko would catch him with short, hard shots. There was a moment in round 4 when Lomachenko was walking Ortiz down to the ropes. Ortiz was pumping a jab, but Lomachenko was just catching them on his gloves and coming forward the whole time. So Ortiz took a millisecond to rest, but since Lomachenko was still coming forward, he's already in range. So Lomachenko saw that he was taking a break and then nailed him on the chin with a short left hand. And he did it actually more than once in round number 4. So this continues on. Lomachenko is working his way back from the slow start, and in round 6, Ortiz switches to southpaw at the end of the round. When I saw this live, I started thinking Ortiz might be going into desperation mode. To my surprise, he fought pretty well out of southpaw, didn't look awkward at all. He let some combinations go and even landed some body shots on Lomachenko, some good body shots. He wasn't in southpaw for very long, so we didn't get to see how his defense in southpaw is, though. And this was actually pretty significant because in rounds 7 and 8, Lomachenko really slowed down. This might have been an effect of the body shots, or it might have been just him taking a break. It might have been both, but either way, the pre-slips, the pressure, the feints from Lomachenko were put to a stop in round 7 and 8. Ortiz even landed a naked straight right on Lomachenko, which got him backing up for a bit. However, by round 9, Ortiz looked even more tired. Lomachenko stepped on the gas again, whether he recovered from the body shots or really just needed the round 8 break. Ortiz wasn't moving around as much anymore, and Lomachenko capitalized on this when he got into a punching range, strafing him with combinations. And Lomachenko pretty much banks the championship rounds doing this. So Lomachenko cruises to the unanimous decision victory, but certainly a lot closer than many might have anticipated. They were saying on the broadcast that Lomachenko was a minus 3,000 favorite. That's absolutely huge. But anyway, this brings up the potential fight against Devin Haney for undisputed at lightweight. Both guys seem to want it, and it seems that this was the plan all along, with Haney in attendance ringside and getting into the ring after for an interview. Since it looks like this fight is very likely to happen, I'll share my thoughts on it. So right away we know that once again Lomachenko is going to have the height and reach disadvantage that he pretty much always deals with at lightweight. This means there's a very high likelihood that we'll see Lomachenko do the same thing he always does, with applying pressure so that he could work his way into his punching range and try to counter off of Haney's jab. Haney has an excellent jab, and it's not only sharp, but also well educated, meaning he knows how to place it well to reduce the chance of him getting countered off of it. I think Haney would be able to keep Lomachenko at a distance with his jab. However, the big question then becomes, what is his answer when Lomachenko gets in? Because Lomachenko will eventually get in. It's near impossible to keep Lomachenko out for an entire 12 rounds. Ortiz showed in the first 2 rounds a quick step back check hook, but ultimately couldn't keep it up. Teofimo Lopez would shoot the right hand and step out to his right when Lomachenko blitzed in at the outside angle. Maybe Devin Haney will just clinch when Lomachenko gets in. Maybe he'll have a counter ready. If he does have a counter ready, then it's back on Lomachenko to adapt and find a counter to that counter. The way I see this fight playing out is Haney working the jab from the outside, probably banking the early rounds. Lomachenko will try to time that jab and work his way into his punching range. Haney will have whatever answer he has when this happens. Then Lomachenko will try to adjust to it. The thing is, at lightweight, I think Lomachenko gives up a lot of physical advantages. I've also questioned his stamina, with him taking the first half of the fight off against Teofimo, letting off in the gas in the second half of the fight against Richard Comey, and in this fight, starting slow and taking breaks in the middle rounds. He isn't able to dominate these bigger guys at lightweight the way he was able to at 130 and featherweight. Remember the way he stretched Rocky Martinez on the canvas and the way he just bullied Nicholas Walters? It's not something we see him able to do as much or as often against these younger, bigger guys at lightweight. Add in the fact that Lomachenko is getting older, which affects these lighter weight fighters more, and the odds are stacking against him. Ultimately, I'm going to lean towards Devin Haney by decision. I don't see either guy knocking each other out or getting a knockout, and I think Haney is going to edge out the rounds with his jab. I see Lomachenko having success when he does get in, but it won't be enough if he ends up taking breaks and giving up even more rounds to Haney, who isn't likely to gas out. Now, of course, there is an X factor if Haney has a bad weight cut or is too big for lightweight and ends up hurting his stamina. I know a lot of people pointed out that he looked drained against Kambosos in his rematch. It'll be interesting to see if that happens against Lomachenko. So if you want to bet on that fight or any other upcoming sporting event of your choice, then use my BetUS affiliate link in the description. It'll go towards helping out the channel. And also let me know in the comments below how you think Lomachenko versus Haney will go. And as always, thank you to my GOAT tier patrons for supporting the channel: Jason Maheenan, Grant Gabriel, Albert Chen, Jeff, Dmitry Drozdov, Andre, Gosselai Geza, Mark Price, Marshall Bott, and Swazna Bear, as well as my channel member, Hot Pocket Maestro. You guys help the channel keep on going, and I'll see you all in the next one.